Join the Brave Enough podcast with Julianne Williams. Renew, recreate, recover you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to my podcast today. We're going to talk about why single parents should not try to be super parents, and also some self-care tips to avoid the burnout that we can sometimes experience as single parents. Like all single working parents out there, are you also a victim of the superparent syndrome? In case you're not familiar with this term, it's a condition where a parent feels the constant need to accomplish more and more, and these are often unrealistic goals, with perfection. We exhaust ourselves while striving to be a perfect parent and employee, which builds stress inside us, leads to physical and emotional suffering. And when we feel like we've failed, we have feelings of diminished self-worth. And we know that there is no failing. Does this sound familiar to you? I want to clear something up. I don't believe there's anything like a super parent. I think it's a misconception that must be overcome. And I want to give you some reasons why I think we should throw that term to the curb and stop trying to be super parents. First, super parents, especially super moms, are more depressed than their counterparts. It's not unusual for single working parents to compromise some aspects of career and parenting. I know with my situation, we were sometimes late to appointments, or, I had to ask my family to help me. And so my children had to be taken to appointments or whatnot by a member of my family. Or sometimes I had to leave work early to do things with or for my children. The latest research shows that single working parents who have an I can do it all attitude, both at home and work, are more likely to develop symptoms of depression and anxiety. For all of us, attaining a work-life balance can feel impossible. And I want to remind you, you only have 100% to give, and you can't give it to both kids and work, and I think that's fine. The stress to be perfect and making everything right may cause health issues, including memory and concentration problems, mood swings, irritability, and sometimes emotional outbursts. And I think we're all guilty of all of these things entering into our lives when we feel like we're not doing everything or we're not living up to other people's expectations. Physical health issues include weight gain or weight loss, muscle tension, premature aging, and a weakened immune system. So it's very important that we understand the effects of trying to do it all. Second, you need personal time too. Friends, you are a single parent, which means you have more tasks to handle than a married woman or man who has a spouse by their side. This means you need more self-care and relaxation to prepare yourself for responsibilities that are harder to accomplish. Most single parents who experience the syndrome of wanting to be the super parent, they don't invest any time in their own self-care. When we're in this situation, we can feel easily overwhelmed by all the necessary and extra tasks that need to be accomplished. I know for me, when I lost my husband, I never put gas in my car. I never took out the trash. He picked up the children. And so when all of the things changed around my circumstance, I began to get overwhelmed by the number of things that I needed to accomplish each and every day. I also had a hard time saying no to my bosses, to my children, to my family, to friends, and I would prioritize other needs first. We tend to sacrifice our well-being and strive to fulfill our responsibilities and meet other people's expectations, leaving us no personal time or energy for ourselves, and that can result in burnout and exhaustion. So I encourage you to take time for yourself because you need personal time as well. Number 3, our kids, they're not asking for a super parent. What they're looking for is a happy and healthy parent and home. Children, look for different things from their mother and their father. And my challenge was I had my husband that was deceased, and it made it harder for me to think about how to be a perfect mother to both a girl and a boy. But when you ask children about what they want, they don't say, I want a super parent. So I asked my kids what they wanted in a mom, and if they were going to talk to their school friends about what made me an awesome mom, what would those things be? Here's what they said. She gives me hugs and kisses and says she loves me. My mom listens to me, appreciates me, and always motivates me. She plays with me, watches movies with me, and shares jokes with me. My mom is funny, and she told me stories about when she was a naughty kid. I wasn't naughty very often, just so we all know. But in the end, what I'm asking you to do is to not associate your self-worth with all the productivity things that we put in our life, because these will undermine your health, and importantly, you'll miss out on all the little joyful moments of life, and we tend then to neglect our precious relationships. And looking back, the times when I stepped back from housework or extra work that I felt I needed to do, I cherished the moments that I had with my children, just being with them. All right, number 4. I think the myth of being a super parent hurts people. Why? We all know that we want the best for our children. And to imply that if you're not the perfect parent, you're not giving the best to your children, I think is a really self-defeating thought. We all work extra hours. We try to save our money. Maybe we don't go get our hair done. Maybe we don't hang out with our friends and don't buy ourselves clothes. Don't treat ourselves at all. And the myth, it hurts us because we don't want to have these feelings of self-depreciation because people or we think that we are doing less than our best. And so we're trying to live up to a mythical creature, and we'll never meet that expectation. And we also need to remember that in human nature, we think that we can be perfect, but no one is perfect. And quite frankly, the things that are wonderful about us are the things that are imperfect. The other part that hurts us when we're trying to be a super parent is that we don't understand that it's not humanly possible to control all aspects of our life. So I encourage you to drop the myth, the need to strive to a myth of something that is very difficult to achieve. And then the last thing is that understanding what things are non-negotiable. When we pick and choose carefully about how we're going to spend our time as a parent, it becomes a lot easier to say no. That means we need to identify in advance what things we're not willing to give up. Is it story time at night? Is that cooking a dinner for your family 5 nights a week? Is it going to the movies twice a month? Going to a nice dinner once a month? You choose the things that are non-negotiable, that matter to you, that create the relationship with your children that you're looking for. And then you'll be able to say no to other things because you'll know that the non-negotiables have to happen first. All right, so let's talk a little bit about how we can take care of ourselves, because all of these things that I've talked about can leave us sometimes feeling very irritable, burned out, and I just want you to know you're not alone. As I've said, most solo parents put their kids' needs above their own because we're so focused on providing everything to them. Since our responsibilities are bigger, we need to find time to rest and discover peace of mind and self-care cannot be ignored. It will help you feel more energetic and motivated. And honestly, that's an essential part of taking care of your family. After all, you are the most important human in their lives. To give them 100% of yourself, you have to be 100%. So let's talk about some low-cost and easy-to-follow self-care strategies for all of us single parents. Number 1, give yourself a break. We are so hard on ourselves. Like I talked about the superparent myth, we spend so much time trying to live up to some expectation that is only something we've placed on ourselves. So how can you give yourself a break? Well, kids have to learn to be adults. So one thing you can do is delegate some age-appropriate chores to them. There's nothing wrong with them vacuuming or dusting or helping prepare a meal or clean up after dinner. Sometimes we have to decide that it's okay today to buy the groceries and leave the house cleaning until tomorrow. We don't have to do it all today. Solo parenting can be physically and emotionally draining. So take rest whenever your body asks you to. I know one thing I did is when I was exhausted, and that was often, I would go to bed early with my kids instead of staying up and working more or cleaning the house, doing the dishes. On weekend mornings, I would permit myself to sleep an extra hour or two. When the kids were old enough to brush their teeth, turn on the TV, make themselves a bowl of cereal, there was no reason for me to get up when they were able to do that on their own. But I made the choice to give myself a break, and I encourage you to do that. Number 2, I think something that helps us relieve stress is to talk it over. We have to accept the help and advice from people who genuinely care for us and our children. Having people in our life who check on us and will be there when I needed them, in my case, helped keep me sane. Most single parents think that giving the support of others isn't a good idea because it takes this feeling of strength and makes them instead feel weak. But warriors, I have to tell you, this is not the case. Asking for help is one of the most strong things you can do. I've learned through my personal experience, when someone asks for you to help them and you do it, you feel good about it, right? And when you ask them for help, they feel good that they are able to help you. Again, it's that old saying, it's better to give than receive. So whenever you feel like you shouldn't ask for help, just remember this. Remember that when we help people, we feel good. When they help you, they will feel good. And once you're able to talk about the emotions on your heart, I promise you are going to feel uplifted and recharged. So don't be embarrassed to ask someone to spend a few minutes with you to help you. The third idea that I have, and it's helped me a lot, is to sweat it out. I used to run half marathons, and that was probably one of the most integral parts of me having time on my own and time to think. But the reason that it really worked is because when we work out physically, it releases natural endorphins. And so the study suggests that exercise helps improve mood and mental health and emotional health because it reduces anxiety, depression, and negativity. And I am going to confess that my running time was probably the most important time of my day on the days that I chose to do that. So I suggest that you get out there and do something that gets your heart pumping. A fourth thing that I also like to do, and has helped me tremendously, is to go on a nature walk. I find nature to be extremely powerful and soothing. My favorite place is the beach, and so that's my favorite place to go do this. However, spending time in nature or just viewing wilderness scenes, believe it or not, can help us experience a sense of wholeness, calmness, and stillness. that's highly missing from our lives as single parents. So my suggestion is the next time you go on a walk or you're feeling emotionally drained and you don't know what to do, look around at what is around you. What is surrounding you? No matter where we are, nature is with us. If it's the blue sky, it's the clouds. If it's, in my case, sometimes agricultural property that's beautiful. But use your 5 senses to feel the wind touching your skin. Feel the sun warm you up. Hear the birds chirping in the background. Make this a habit. I believe you'll start feeling really good about yourself. A recent study also reported that people could reduce their stress and anxiety by just spending 20 minutes in nature. So I encourage you to do that. 5. This one may seem a little odd, but just stay with me. Keep a water bottle with you, always. Now, we love getting pedicures, taking a nap, having scented candles, and I think those are wonderful things to do, and I know that men like those too. But truly, one of the easiest things we can do is drink enough water. It helps to regulate our body, and we can't survive without it. It also keeps us from drinking too much caffeine, too much sugar, or too much alcohol. When you keep a reusable water bottle with you, and I take mine everywhere, it goes with me to the store, it goes with me when I take trips, it goes with me to the gym. When you take it everywhere you go, it helps you to drink more water. And I know that sounds really silly when I say it, but it's true because when I leave it behind, I find that I don't seek out getting water and drinking. I end up buying a soda, doing things like that. But keeping yourself hydrated helps maintain high energy levels, a good metabolism, and it allows your body to work as the way it's intended. And the last thing I want to talk about is do what you like. Your, quote, me time is only yours. So do what you like. Self-care doesn't always have to be, like I said, a manicure, a pedicure, a spa. Sometimes it's sitting, watching YouTube videos that you've put on, watch later, or a Netflix series that you've really been into lately. Or maybe you have a book that you've really wanted to read. You don't even have to do these things very long. Give yourself 15 to 30 minutes. Now, if you have more time, you could probably watch a football game or a movie. But the point here is to do something that you enjoy. Not because somebody else enjoys it, not because you think you should do it, but because it's what you love. When we choose things that we love, we get re-energized. And one of the biggest problems for single parents is that we become very, very emotionally and physically drained. So I encourage you, if you don't know what you like, to sit down and make a list. Budget time for those things each week so that you can spend me time. Well, everyone, that is what I have for you today. I hope that it has been some help. I also want to thank you again for being a part of my Be Brave community. Please join me on Instagram and Facebook. I, again, wish you the best week ahead, and I will talk to you soon.
If you are inspired by this podcast, leave a review and share it with your friends. You can always connect with Julianne Williams at juliannewilliams.com.